All right. Good morning, everyone. Dan here with tradingology.com and the trading room for April 13th, 2021. We're creeping up on halfway and what is normally tax day coming up in a couple days, but this year they have pushed it out another month. So people that are maybe usually scrambling for their taxes in a couple days here have another month to go. I believe it's April or May 15th. I think they've extended it out to, and all other types of things. As usual, we do have our good friend Dave joining us from Strong Market. So good morning, Dave. Good to see you.
Morning, Dan. Morning, everybody.
How was your fine weekend?
Uneventful.
Uneventful. Sometimes that's nice.
Yeah, it was quite a weekend. I did get the first dose of the vaccine though Saturday.
I just seen which version did you get?
I'm glad it wasn't Johnson & Johnson.
I was going to say they're having news conferences right now that they're pausing it from some stuff. So
yeah,
luckily for you, it's only been seen in women so far. So
yeah,
unless you have a secret to share with us.
No idea.
Yep, top headlines. FDA and CDCs are holding press conferences right now. If you guys didn't see that, it's for the J&J version. Other than that, that's kind of across the board. Everyone's talking about it. And the recent.
Yeah, I guess they're being cautious because only 6 people came down with that whatever
blood clotting
it was with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Andre says, good morning, and good friend, XRP is skyrocketing. It sure is. I'll pull it up in a little bit and give you a whirl.
My friend Scott, Price Action Profits, called the $1.70 on XRP. We hit it this morning.
See, you want to know what my target was there? See, Scott and I agree because mine was 1649 according to what we had fun last week on. We'll pull that guy up. According to the fib, it just hit it this morning.
Unbelievable.
So he was calling 170, 164. They both got there.
Interestingly, that they shut off all the exchanges and delisted it, and it goes up.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I don't know how I would feel right now if I was still a large holder of this and not being able to sell it to cash in my profits.
Yeah. So what happens when they do list it and it goes down before that? And so, it's just a very strange situation.
Yeah. So hopefully our friends that are international are taking advantage of that actually can trade it still. So I think we have quite a few members that might have some that are overseas. I'd like to hear from some if they're doing it. Because they can still trade like other parts of the country, right?
That's right. They can trade it. They can get in and out of their fiat, whatever system they have. I still don't know where. Was there any decision on the lawsuit? Because I haven't really been paying attention to it.
I have not heard specifics myself.
Yeah, evidently, I think a lot of crypto has been going up over the last weekend and the last week or so because of the Coinbase IPO tomorrow. So I think people are getting excited about that.
Oh, I even saw it this morning, believe it or not. Jim Cramer is like trying to be cautious.
Saying, oh, really?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
I think I saw it on a Twitter feed where it was something about, yeah, he likes the crypto space, but he thinks people need to calm down and not just pay anything.
Oh.
So I didn't think I'd ever see that day.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had a chat this morning with my good friend Jay High at 139 on Twin Pops on Twitter. And he said, well, I don't really know if I need to get Coinbase stock if I'm in crypto already. And I said, look, the difference is if you have crypto, I mean, you're basically at the mercy of market fluctuations. So from 2017, when we hit the old high until 2020, the market did nothing. It was completely dead market, right? So it's speculation. It's only speculation. But with Coinbase, they make a fee on every transaction. So as the cryptocurrency market continues to evolve and mature and more people get involved, the number of transactions in cryptocurrency is going to go higher and higher. So Coinbase is going to benefit from those fees. So I said, really, the question is, do you want to be subject to market fluctuations of cryptocurrencies, or do you want a piece of a company? which a share of Coinbase would be, in the fee structure that they're charging for all those transactions. And I equated it to Amazon. When Amazon got started, they were doing their own selling, right? But they developed a platform in which they allowed other people to sell goods and services, and they just took a cut of it. They took a fee for the service of providing the platform for buyers and sellers. And that's where they've made all of their money. They didn't make money selling books in the early days. They opened up their platform. They developed the buying, selling platform, and they took a cut. They don't have to store inventory. Well, now they store inventory, but as a seller, you have to pay for the space. So FBA fees and things like that. So they make a cut from the storage, they make a cut from the transactions, and they don't buy and sell anything. So I think that's where Coinbase is kind of going. That's where the money is coming from. I think it's all going to be in the transaction fees, just like Amazon has built their business up over the years. As more and more coins, more popularity of cryptocurrencies come in, and more people trade them, they don't care if people make money or lose money in cryptocurrency. They're making a transaction fee on every single transaction. So.
Got to have different views. Got to like it.
Yep. Andre says, I guess we're still hoping to make more big money on commodities someday. Eventually, the inflation scenario is going to play out. Still looking pretty good here. We did not have the pullback on that long-term trend line as you're showing there. So I don't know. It looks like a normal little pullback.
Yeah, we broke right through that, and take that for this. It's still on this trajectory.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So we may not get the big pullback that I was thinking of, which is okay. I mean, I still like commodities a lot.
And these are weekly charts, so this is a lot of time frame. So that's the one thing about the commodity play. Remember too, is Andre, is that's long term. That could be a year, could be 2 years. Like we say, these play out weeks. This could hit up into 50 in a matter of the end of 2022 maybe. If I throw a quick line, not that I'm predicting, but just
yeah, if you got a little channel line going there, we could hit some big numbers. And I think there's going to be pockets of certainly pockets of the commodities market that are probably going to do better than others. So you kind of want to keep an eye on those. For example, I really like uranium.
Hit that peak back here. Not that it's exact science, but there's a little channel that's going up right now. That would have it on path for, not that 50 is a magic number, but just looking, 50 is about a year out. That's a big move from 36 on commodities index.
Yeah, definitely.
We will see.
We'll see.
In other news, the futures were a massive roller coaster this morning. If anybody missed that, because of the CPI numbers coming out. Look at this massive drop in the Dow futures before they came out.
That was the J&J news.
That broke at 5, 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I was not up.
It was before. Yeah, it was before the CPI.
Yeah, we can see the CPI numbers were 7:30 Central, so that's the volatility we see right here. But then everybody else is just on a rocket there. So the Dow is still down 0.5%, but the Nasdaq's up almost. It was up over 1%. Now it's pulled back to about 0.8% up, but it's still quite a ways.
Yeah, the big story there is if the J&J isn't working, then there's not enough vaccine for everybody, and so Peloton, Zoom, all of the stay-at-home story stocks are up this morning. It's just kind of a bit of a roller coaster there with opening up. All the airlines are down, so it's kind of like back to the old stay-at-home play. We'll see what happens. I think Moderna and Pfizer probably will pick up the slack, and they'll probably, take over whatever J&J was going to do. But, I guess everybody's disappointed J&J's vaccine was pulled, and certainly it's a health issue. So it's a good thing that they were, cited on the, they were on the side of caution here.
Right. And on the live daily charts, we see the NDX doesn't know what a red bar is anymore.
Yeah, that's a daily. Yeah.
We haven't seen a down day since last month.
Unbelievable.
And before that, it was the third week in the last month. So the NASDAQ has definitely just made a new all-time high. It caught up because it was mad that the SPX and the Dow were ahead of it for all-time high. So the NASDAQ just went and made a new one. But we see on the dailies, we do have bearish herding, not well formed, but is beginning to form. And we have no herding right now in the New York Stock Exchange. And we have a little pullback happening.
It's thin.
So herding's going away. We're in negatives and supply and demand territories. And again, these are on the dailies, so this is taken into account the entire day. And I think this is kind of interesting. I don't know if the market is watching my chart, but it seems like it's going around my bubble that's been sitting there for a few weeks. And that SPY VIX, Dave pointed out in the Slack channels, on a daily chart has like a double top. And on a weekly chart, we have almost broke 25, 24.65 we're sitting at right now, 24.33. So we're hovering near that 25 line that we've been paying close attention to.
Yeah, really, really close. And we've had really weak internals. I mean, if we look at the spreadsheet, oh my gosh, the internals are just like, I mean, they're flatlined. We're just kind of like getting a mix of plus and minus. We're, MT volatility is kind of rising. We went up to 96%. So we're really kind of at that, the borderline area between buyers and sellers.
Yeah, big one there is the swing signal has turned neutral as of yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this day ends. That's the Dow one. Same thing on the
Look at the 27-day sum. And the 27-day sum is basically just, I mean, it's like it's kind of like at that 2000 level. It's been at that 2000 level for a long time. That's the longest I think I've seen it. I mean, both the 21 and 27-day sum. It's really strange.
Yeah, we made double tops at 9s, then it's hitting 8s. So it looks like the buy sell signal's on the way down after we've seen a peak and we got no herding.
And spotty herding too. I mean, there's no big blocks filled in there. They're like, it looks like a crossword puzzle.
So I was trying to find if there was any bullish indicators from yesterday, and I didn't see any in here myself. Everything's going up from a bear standpoint. I mean, 5% rise, third column, the pipeline, the flow's up, the herding's gone. We're on the downside of the curve. Swing signal's neutral. I mean, everything's pointing to bearish right now.
Everything is, definitely. Yeah, that's a good analysis right there. Everything is pointing to either a neutral or a lower market.
So we'll see if this continues. And as we see, you guys saw the pullback on the Dow itself. And then we compare that to the NASDAQ. Now that we have both spreadsheets, almost a 10-point jump in MT vol from 90 to 99.
Wow.
All three columns in the pipeline are red. Flows over 100, and we do have the first column yesterday filled in. So we did have an orphan back here last week. We'll see if this is another orphan or not, but it's the kind of the same story where both sides are bearish indicators. Swing signal is actually down on the NASDAQ. We didn't have the 2000 peak on that since that's been slightly different, obviously, but we did have a double top at 8s, and then now we're moving down in the buy sell as well.
Yeah.
So, market timer spreadsheets are pointing to bearish biases, absolutely. So keep an eye on that. Andre says he guesses commodities is our big bet. Oh, if we're not in cryptos, yeah, or if you're just waiting for cryptos to be relisted to potentially sell it. I guess that's the other boat you could be in. Everyone's doing their own thing. I applaud those that made it that far. Good job, and hopefully you can actually cash in someday. That's my hope.
Yeah, hope so. I mean, cryptos have done pretty well. I think there's just a lot of FOMO going on. A lot of people are just kind of piling in.
That's the one part that worries me, that this will be short-lived and no one gets to cash in on it because the exchanges aren't available. We'll see.
Yeah, a lot of volatility there. And remember, none of these exchanges are really regulated by anybody. I mean, they have KYC, AML stuff, but I was trading XLM when it wasn't really even volatile. I mean, it was down in the 30s and 40s cent level. And I had trouble getting in and out of positions. I can't imagine if you had a really big position in some of these cryptocurrencies, you're not going to affect the market. I was trading 400, 500,000 XLM at a time, and I couldn't get out. I mean, I pushed the price around. Every time I went in to buy 50, 60,000 at a time, I pushed the price around. It was, getting out of a large position, I think you need to do it over time. So just kind of plan ahead. But XRP, I think, has surprised everybody. There always is like this, I think they're anticipating that everything's going to be relisted. And they're going to win the lawsuit if they haven't done so already. I saw somebody say something about they won it, but I don't think there's been anything official. I would have heard.
You'd see that all over the place if that were the case.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of hopium. And I think they're anticipating it's going to be done quickly. If it isn't, it could be bad.
The other thing I did notice this morning, similar to a few weeks ago, is it feels like it's FOMC week again. Looking at the calendar here.
Oh, yeah.
Powell was on 60 Minutes. If you missed that, you can probably find a recording somewhere. And then yesterday we had Bostic, or today we have Bostic speaking. Tomorrow we got Powell speaking again with 3 more members.
Whew.
Thursday, don't worry, they'll be talking again. So just
Jeez.
about every day we have more FOMC activity. You think they're not worried about the CPI that came out this morning that was higher month over month and year over year, I believe?
Year over year was 2.6%. They were anticipating 2.5. So hot, a little bit hot. Now, does the Fed think about raising rates at that point? Probably not. They want rates lower. And we've got the 30-year up a little bit today at 2.3%. We've got the 10-year hovering around 1.66. So no real big changes and not a big decline either. Maybe just a pause in the longer-term rates rising. If that's the case, can you imagine what would happen to the economy if the 30-year went to like 4, 5, 6%?
Well, everyone's talking about how long is this housing market going to go?
Yeah.
I mean, I keep getting, even to this day, like over a year ago, I just did a inquiry into these weird open doors and whatever they are, different companies that buy you up. They're like hitting me up left and right saying, hey, do you want to sell now? We're getting voicemails. Do you want to sell your property? We got people looking to buy it. I'm like, this is crazy.
Wow.
Like I was literally talking to a neighbor the other day where his son had just sold a house. He's doing something that I talked about. It's kind of interesting, where they're selling their house. They're going to live in a camper. And they got $40,000 over their asking price.
Wow.
Sight unseen, no inspections, no nothing.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous what's happening right now in housing.
Well, when I got my vaccine, I talked to the manager of the pharmacy who gave us a shot. He lives in the neighborhood that we do. He lives right up behind us. And he goes, boy, you guys know what's going on with the property values in our area? I said, no, I don't really track the property areas in our area. And he goes, they've like doubled in the last 6 months.
Wow.
Doubled.
Double?
Oh. And I'm like, really? I'm incredulous because I live in a small uptown or upstate New York community, and our prices have been basically flat since 1999. I mean, they've gone up a little bit, maybe 1% a year or so, 2% at the most. But we have not caught up with the real estate market in the nation, and especially in the big cities. He said they doubled in the last 6 months. He said he was offered. He bought his house at, I don't know what it was, whatever. He said he looked it up. He called a realtor. They had him come over, and he said he would list it at double what they paid for it, which was just 6 months ago. They just bought it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Greg says down in the south, there's been many people buying up houses without even seeing them that are coming from up here, from up in the north.
Is this the new housing crisis bubble?
It's a matter of musical chairs at this point. You know, how long will the music go for all the people that aren't paying rent and bills and whatnot? And that's going to cause, many people have talked about that one. It's nothing earth shattering, but once the piper comes to say, pay up for those mortgages, landlords are going to have to sell if they don't have renters or they can't cover the extra mortgages. So there could be a massive sale, and that could be the beginning of it. We'll see where the chips fall on that one. That could be a long played out one. If they keep kicking the can, if they keep extending, forbearance and eviction rules, which we're coming up on a year now, right? Since they started doing that. How long can that go? The government's good at pushing everything to the edge of the envelope. Look what they're doing with money printing. There's no end of the game there. So why will there be an end of the game for evictions? We'll see. Sooner or later, something's got to give.
Yeah, I just think it's a very strange market. It's the strangest market I've seen ever in 30, 40 years.
Andre's asking, so are you still thinking no crypto in your portfolio, just sticking to futures and commodities, better price discovery and transparency? What are your thoughts there?
Commodities, that's about it for me. I'm just going to kind of dollar cost average into commodities. I'm still pretty light on commodities because I think we're still going to get one more downturn in deflation. But eventually commodities are just going to start to take off. But I think we're probably going to have to wait 3 to 5 years. At least that's my time frame.
And there's never been a time where there's been this much money creation without inflation. If they say this time is different, it's just the broken record playing again in my book. They can't keep saying this time is different and it's never different. You can't have the amount of money that's been created without inflation. Sooner or later, it will catch up to us.
Well, that's a domino that's definitely going to topple. And here's what could kick it off. And the research I've done, I went all the way back to 1885. And I started looking at all the times. Oh, I think it was even further than that. I think it was 1810. And I looked at all the times in which inflation really started to take off. A lot of it was due to money printing because of anticipation of going into war. And so they cranked up the money printing in order to pay for the war. And as soon as the war started, inflation took off. I mean, really, really a lot. When you think about the 60s and 70s, it was Vietnam. If you go back to World War II, there's huge inflation right at the beginning of World War II, and money printing as well, because they needed money to finance the war. Same thing happened in World War I. Same thing happened in Spanish American War before that. And I mean, going all the way back to like the early 1800s, every time there was a war. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're going to go into a war? And we've got this huge money printing that we've already done in order to save our economy. And if there is a military conflict someplace, that's it. It's game over. Commodities are going to rocket.
And not that this is the potential for that, but it's interesting you mentioned that. But I did see, I think it was China last night, flew a handful of fighter jets over Taiwan or somewhere. Someone correct me on that. I'm probably mixing up my airspace, but they've flown deeper into space where they weren't supposed to, and since it's been established.
Oh, really? Oh, yep. They're kind of pushing some buttons there, huh?
Right.
See what they can get away with. China's a power. China is a superpower, and they know it. And they can push people around. They want to take back Taiwan. They want Taiwan to toe the line. They don't like all this idea of democracy rallies in Taiwan.
Yeah, China sent 25 warplanes into Taiwan's air defense identification zone yesterday, which is the largest breach of the space since the island began regularly reporting such activity in September, Taiwan's defense ministry said. So there you go. China's testing the waters.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. Yeah, that would be like us. I saw a comment just below that. It's like us if we put our battleships you know, someplace near India or something, you know, within the water, within the limits.
Yeah. Would
And
would the U.S. send warplanes and battleships if other countries voice their concerns out into the Pacific?
oh yeah, geez, that would be tough. But yeah, I can imagine that. You know, that's kind of yeah, it's
So that's one to watch. Just
you know, they've
on the
already
back
taken
burner.
over most of Southeast Asia. China has already taken over Cambodia pretty much. They've gone into Laos. They're buying up all the real estate in Cambodia right now, and have been for years. Um, they're trying to insulate themselves geographically with the rest of the world, and they see Cambodia as kind of the seaport city where they can come in and out. Strategically, it's a good buffer.
Well, with that, we're about to the top of the hour, so we appreciate you guys coming out with us. Curtis had a question there on filling out the spreadsheet for numbers. I did shoot you a link where you can pull them from. You should be able to still see. I think there's yesterday's numbers in there if you're looking for it. If not, just grab the latest copy from the Strong Market website. As long as you're on their $5 a month daily updates, you can always get the new update. That's what a lot of people do like it for, is that way if they lose track, we keep track of you guys for you. Now we're keeping track of both NASDAQ and the Dow as part of the Strong Market offering.
Absolutely. So the good news is better weather is coming to the Northeast.
Yeah, I won't even talk about weather. It's not going to happen in my backyard, but up north, there's snow possibilities today. Up by Canada, they're saying 3 to 6 inches are possible. Keep it up there, my Canadian friends.
I knew it was too early to be hopeful because we're like, I mean, this is only April. Typically, we don't get any warm weather until like the end of May.
Yeah, we got spoiled with a few weeks, so everyone thinks it's summer already. That's the trouble.
Yeah.
So we got to live through a little bit of reality, and then, yeah, you go snowing in Montana. There you go.
Yeah.
It'll be gone fast. That's the good side. Well, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you out here next Thursday, or on Thursday. We'll be back out, and until then, we'll see you in the Slack channels. And as always, hit us up with emails if you got questions.
Andre, gold and silver, I think are going to hold their own. You know, it depends if we get that deflationary scenario. If it goes, you know, if we get the deflation, we'll probably see gold and silver trade a little bit lower. But I like gold and silver.
Yep, all long term. That's have a long forecast and not there's no get rich quick anywhere.
No.
Anybody that gets rich quick goes broke quick too.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword. You're absolutely right. Don't speculate, guys. Try to be strategic in your investments. Not financial advice, but certainly you really want to be you want to be a little bit cautious, especially now.
Definitely. You're welcome, Greg. Glad you came out and joined us. Curtis, have a great day. Andre, as always, I appreciate you, man. And
all right, see you, Dan.
See you guys next time.
See you guys.